talking about 5 things I dislike or hate about my Corolla right now. I really love this car, but there are a few things that I wish were better on this car, and I'm going to talk about those. And there are some ways that I can improve it, and other ways, I don't know if there's really anything I can improve it with, but I would love to get you guys recommendations or see if you guys have these same exact problems with me or not. But let's hop into the video. And also too, since I don't want to just stand in front of the camera and talk the entire time, I gotta wash my car. So throughout washing my car, I'm gonna be talking about these 5 things as I get to them. So try to make the video a little bit more interesting than just standing in front of a camera. But also, when you guys wash your car, do you guys usually just take it to the car wash, or do you guys give it a hand wash? I always try to just do the 2-bucket method and try not to scratch the car up already, even though it's already a 13-year-old car. I still try to keep it in as good condition as possible. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about, my first complaint would be the aftermarket support for these Corollas. They do have some, luckily, but nowhere near as much as, like, say, the newer Corollas. The newer Corollas have way more aftermarket support than these do. Because, say, the new Corollas, the new generation, I believe with the 2-liter engine in it, I mean, they already have tunes, they have like so much aftermarket support for their engine, and like obviously they look really nice, but they just got so much attention versus this year Corolla, the 10th gen. They just didn't nearly get as much love and attention. I mean, even the 9th gen Corollas, I mean, if you look at them, they had the XRS with the really nice, I believe it was the 2ZZ engine. I mean, that was a very moddable engine. So, versus the 2ZR FE, which is in this Corolla, nowhere near as much aftermarket support for the engine. I mean, I know they do make the turbo kit, and there are a few other bolt-ons that you can buy, but nowhere near the amount of attention to the engine like all the other ones. And also too, I'm curious, what size wheels do you guys got on your Corollas? These are 18s by, I believe, 8.5. I'm curious what you guys got on your car, because I've seen some people with 20s, but I think they're almost too big for this car. Because you want to at least have somewhat of sidewall on here for a little bit of support. Because otherwise, I mean, you start going to the very, very thin, low profile tires. I could imagine driving that is not fun at all. Alright, so the next thing I want to talk about, number 2, problem I think on this car would probably be what I think is the transmission. I have the 5-speed manual transmission on this car, which I'm just glad to have a manual transmission on a Corolla. But one of my biggest things on the transmission is I feel like it needs a 6th gear, because say you're traveling at high speed, like highway speeds, like 70, 80 miles an hour, and you're in 5th gear, the RPMs are still at like 3,500, which is a little excessive, like compared to like my Camry, which is I know it's a newer car and it has a 6-speed automatic, but when it's in 6th gear on the highway doing 80, it'll probably be around a little over 2,000 RPM. So it's like the gearing is just way off and needs that extra 6th gear. And I can understand why they put the 6-speed manual in the newer Corollas, because probably that reason. It's just not as efficient as I would like it. One of the other things too on the transmission is I wouldn't say it's the worst feeling transmission, but like it has horrible rev hang, and also the synchros just don't sync good together when you're at high RPM. So that's kind of with the whole rev hang and the synchros, you'd usually want to try to, like if you're going from first to second and you're trying to shift around redline, you kind of have to do it a couple hundred RPM before redline, because the synchros from first to second are not going to line up good. So it's like you either have to really jam it into it or kind of let the RPMs drop a little bit quicker and then go into second. So tell me if you guys have the 5-speed manual. Tell me if you guys have any complaints on the transmission or not. Like I said, it's amazing to have a manual transmission, but it's just, I wouldn't say it's the best transmission for this car. Alright guys, so got the whole outside washed and dried up a little bit. She's looking pretty good. I didn't dress the wheels or anything like that, but I'll get to that after. So now I want to hop inside the car and I want to talk about some stuff inside the car. Alright, so hopping in the car. So the third thing I don't like about this car, I would have to say, is the interior color of this car. I wish it was black. I wish I could have found one that was black, but I could not. So I hate this gray on gray on gray. I don't know why Toyota did this way, but it is honestly, to be honest, it's not a bad color, but say I would love to add some accent colors to this car, but it's like, what color matches gray or gray or gray or dark gray and then you have black? I mean, it's literally, there's like 3 or 4 different gray colors in this car and I hate it. I don't know, like I said, I don't know why Toyota did it, but there's literally, you got the gray color on the seats, you got this light gray here, you got the dark gray here, this is a different color gray here on the trim, then you have a like flat black here, another dark gray here, and then you got silver here. I mean, it is literally the dumbest color combination Toyota could have used. I mean, on the blacks at least go throughout most of the car. I know they do, I believe they have still 2 different colors on the dash, but black looks way better with this. And if you wanted to like add red accents or something to like the shift knob or to the steering wheel or something, it would look good. But like if you wanted to add red to gray, I don't think it would look good. I don't know, drop a comment down below of if you have the same gray interior, what color have you tried to like match or add on to make it look like your own? Like I was thinking maybe some type of white, I don't exactly know, but let me know down below if you have the gray color and what you think about it. Alright, so jumping into number 4 right here. This is mainly going to be more towards my Corolla itself. I know some of you guys are probably thinking, what the heck? But first off, when I bought this car, I didn't really look over it so much, but I didn't realize that Toyota still made cars with crank windows. So my car has crank windows, which is insane to know that in 2009 and I believe in 2010 they were still making cars with crank windows. I believe, I'm not quite sure on this one, but I believe 2011 was the year Toyota finally got rid of the crank windows. Yeah, that is one thing I hate about this car, is the crank windows and the lack of like electronics. I know, I mean, I've already upgraded my steering wheel. Hopefully I can get steering wheel controls, but I had no steering wheel controls, no electronic windows, no electronic locks. Literally like this model is literally the base model, so it had no accessories whatsoever. So, but it was literally the only Corolla I could find in my area that gave me this wiggle stick right here for the 5-speed manual transmission. So that is my 4th hate on this car. I mean, and obviously, yeah, you can slowly add on to it and maybe do windows, but I know adding electronic windows is not as easy as adding electronic locks, which I have already done that. So, but yeah, that is one big thing I don't like about this, is the lack of electronics. Like, I guess I'm coming from a 2016 Camry, which has a lot more technology built into it. So that is one other big thing that I do not like about this car. I mean, even like, I know the higher trims, they do come with some stuff, but they still, I don't even think in 2009 they had backup cameras. Or I believe they did have a touch screen, but it wasn't really anything special. So let me know down below what trim level you guys have on your Corolla, because like I said, this is literally the base model with nothing in it. Alright, so I finally got the interior all nice and cleaned and vacuumed and all wiped down and everything. So getting on to the last fifth one that I dislike about this car would probably be the interior build quality on this car. Like, you can obviously see right here, I'm missing this plastic piece. I need to replace it because I broke it taking the radio off and putting it back on. But this plastic piece is very prone to breaking. Just the way the clips are in here and where you have to kind of pull, it ends up snapping in half or cracking right here. Then you can also see too, my AC vent is also cracked from just, I think it was cracked before I even got the car. So yeah, the build quality in the interior of this car is, I would say it's like mediocre, because another thing that I complain about all the time are all the rattles and everything that is in this car. I'm constantly like, I'll be driving one week, I hear a rattle in the door over there, and then all of a sudden, like, I'll like kind of like pound on it a little bit or hit it a little bit, and then that'll usually stop the rattle. Then just recently I'm hearing a rattle somewhere up in the dash, and it comes and goes whenever it feels like it. So yeah, it's just a lot of like, just I wish they would have put a little bit more thought into the interior of this car, because it would be much better as a car. So I know this is a cheaper budget Corolla, so I mean, it's not gonna have all the fancy soft touch stuff like this all over the place with all the sound deadening in the doors and stuff like that, but I wish it was a little bit better. Because, and also too, if you wanted to replace these, I mean, they're fairly easy to find on eBay, but a set of these, I see a lot of them going for like $60 to $100, depending on how scratched up they are and things like that. So it seems like everybody overcharges for these pieces just because they know everybody breaks them. And then the last thing about the build quality is, like, driving down the road noise is pretty noisy, but I mean, it is, like I said, it is a Corolla, so, but it is kind of noisy, and it might be the tires and everything like that too, causing some things. Alright, you guys, got the car all nice and clean, wrapped up, looking good. That pretty much was all. That was all the 5 things that I do not like about this Corolla. So, I mean, obviously I love this Corolla. It's a great car, very reliable. But yeah, it's just all those little things that I don't like about this car, and I try to improve. If you guys like this video, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.